What's up guys, my name's Dychronic, your host here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be talking about Escalation Protocol and the easiest way to complete it. It is a fairly difficult event even once you know this strategy, and it does take a lot of preparation, but there's a lot of good things you can do to make this a lot easier. And I do know that a lot of people have posted on this subject already, but I wanted to be sure, doing multiple different events. I think I've completed 5 now, and I have a good idea of what the best strategy is for Escalation Protocol. And if you didn't end up liking this video, you didn't find it informative, hopefully these pictures of kittens will make you feel better. Anyways, let's get into it. So firstly, I recommend you be at the very minimum 360 light, and I personally recommend you be around 370 because the higher your light is, the more damage you do against these bosses, because I think they go up to 380 or 370 light. I think it's actually 380 light at wave 7 where you actually do significantly less damage to them because you're such a low level. Now if you guys don't know what Escalation Protocol is, it's basically a wave defense similar to Court of Oryx, where it's in a public area, you just activate it and everybody can come join you and defeat the final boss. There are 7 distinct waves with little bosses at the end of each one, with harder bosses I think at the end of round 3, 6, and 7. The final boss is a rotating boss that changes every single week for 5 weeks in a row, and then rotates back to the first boss. If you end up winning wave 7, you'll have the option of getting a chest. To open this chest, you first have to get 7 Rasputin shards. Give this to Honor Brace, he'll give you an encrypted key. Then you bring this key through the 7 waves of Escalation Protocol, and that will decrypt the key after the 6th wave, I believe. And then on the 7th wave, you can use it on the chest. You can get that special piece of Seraph armor, and then of course a chance at getting one of those Seraph weapons. Last week was the shotgun, this week is the SMG, hopefully next week will be the sniper. As far as the armor drops go, from what I've been told, you will always get this same order of weapons no matter what week you complete it on. So the first week you complete it, you'll get the class item, the next week the boots, the next week you'll get the chest, after that you'll get the gloves, and then finally you get the head. Although I could be wrong, maybe the gloves and the chest are switched. I think they actually might be switched. But either way, you're going to get them in the same order no matter what week you complete it on. If you complete it on the 1st week and the 4th week and then the 7th week, you're going to get the class item, the boots, and the gloves in that order no matter what week you complete it on. And of course, the weapon has a random chance of dropping. And lastly, you can only use 1 key per character, so technically you only have 3 chances of getting that per week. So let's talk about the biggest thing you can do to make this as easy as possible. Now, technically, the most people you can have in a single area is going to be 9 people, and that's going to be 3 fire teams of 3 people. Now, you could wait until naturally this many people show up, but the chances of that happening are very slim. So what you want to do is set up 3 fire teams in the same instance of people that have communication with each other, as well as the fact that know that they're doing this event and are prepared for it. Now, you could load in from orbit over and over again until you arrive on the same instance as a friend of yours, or you could do this by asking the people in the area to open up their fire team. So literally, just go around the area, open your little roster thing, and message everybody who's not currently in your fire team, and try to ask them to open their fire team so your members could join in, have them leave out if they don't want to do Escalation Protocol, and basically get control of 3 fire teams in the public area. Once you have control of 3 fire teams in the area, as long as you always have at least one of those members on the planet at a time, you can switch in members in and out no matter how many times you do this. A lot of people were farming this over and over and over again, just switching out other people, giving the lead to some other people, and keeping it as alive as long as possible. So much so, LFG websites, which are looking for group websites where you can make teams with people, actually started hosting these things where if you find them on LFG, sometimes people already have 3 fire teams on the ground, and they just say, hey, we're going to be going, somebody take over our lead and fill it in with these people, or just regularly, hey, we have space, come join us, we need up to 9 people to do this event. So my first recommendation is go look for those LFG sites that will allow you to get in those groups that are already made. If you can't find any, you're going to have to make one of your own. And the best strategy is to spread out as much as possible. Everybody go to their own instances and try to find as many nice people as possible until you get 3 in 1. Once you have all 9 people in a single area, I recommend you guys go for the Hammer Strike Tractor Cannon Nova combo. Now what I mean by this is the Hammer Strike from the Hammer Titan is that shoulder charge ability that applies Melting Point, which makes the enemy take 50% more damage from all sources. The Tractor Cannon, when you shoot an enemy, makes them suppressed and take 50% more damage from all void sources. And if you stack them on top of each other, you'll get 100% to 125% more damage. I haven't calculated it, which is why I'm giving you both numbers, which is is an incredible amount of extra DPS. And on top of that, I recommend having as many warlocks as possible with the bottom tree Nova Bomb with the vortex on it, and you just have an incredible amount of damage output. You also should have a bunch of tether hunters on your team. Just have as many orbs as possible to supply your Nova Bomb warlocks. And of course, I also recommend having multiple Hammer Strike Titans because, again, you want to apply Melting Point as much as you can because it only lasts for a few seconds. So as far as it goes, Titans always should be hammers, the Hunter should go tether, and then of course the Warlock should go Nova Bomb and get as many orbs as possible with the tethers, get as much damage down with the Novas, and of course get Melting Point with the Hammer Titans, as well as just using a hammer. You can still get a good amount of damage with the Explosive Pyre Hammers. And on top of that, you should definitely be using Void Heavies and of course Void Secondaries to make the most out of your Tractor Cannon hits. Pretty much anytime you have a boss, hit him up with Melting Point as well as Tractor Cannon, and you can do an incredible amount of damage to him, whereas before you couldn't. Now, final recommendation on this, yes, technically you could be using Javelins. It does make it a lot easier usually, but in general, if you employ this strategy, you can get away without using any Javelins and get through this very smoothly. It may take you a few attempts to get this done. I recommend using as much as you can before using the Javelin so you can get enough practice. And if you're going into the final wave and you're not that comfortable, pull a Javelin or two. It's totally fine since you get those consumables on the drops for the chest anyways. And the final note I want to make about Escalation Protocol is that the little mini objectives during the thing are not that difficult, not that complicated. You'll have things like Shadow Rifts. Sometimes you have multiple Shadow Rifts opening at the same time. Just stand in the little circle, shoot the crystals, avoid the enemies. They will spawn a dude with a sword who will drop a relic. Use this relic. You'll definitely have a lot of fun going around with this sword, just hearing like bang, 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 bang of all the short swords just slamming the ground all the time. Oh, it's just a whole lot of fun. Having 9 people in the same area makes this so easy, so fun, and you just tear through a ton of enemies. So in recap, you should be at least 360. I recommend 370. You should be using Void Weapons. You should be using Nova Bomb for the Warlock, Tether for the Hunters, and Hammers for the Titans. You should be trying to get 3 fire teams of 3 people before even attempting this, and use Javelins if you really need to. And that's pretty much it. There's really not much more ways of making this easier other than being higher power, maybe perhaps gathering together underneath arches for cover on the final boss. The final boss usually has different types of ways to kill him. The Ogre on the first week, basically if there were enemies near him, he got a big shield, so just kill the enemies near him. We don't know what that second boss is, or at least I don't know what the second boss does. So you're just gonna have to learn it out, feel it out, maybe look up a little mini guide on what the boss is. But overall, you really just gotta practice and get in there and see how it's done. Anyways, that's the video for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy. Again, if you liked it, oh, don't even think about it. Don't even think about putting a like down below. If you liked it, just kind of stare at it for a bit, you know? Just stare at it. Let it know who's the real boss in this situation. And then, of course, click it if you want to. But anyways, that's the video. I apologize about the accent, but I'm already into it, so we're gonna end it with that one. Anyways, that's the video for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. My name's Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.